When you hear the words system compliance, your mind probably goes to like dusty binders and just endless, boring checklists. But what if I told you that getting this wrong could be a multi-million-dollar mistake? Today, we're going to dive into why compliance isn't just some one-time task you can check off a list, but a vital, nonstop process that literally keeps organizations secure and running. So let's kick things off with a bit of a cautionary tale. This is a story that shows exactly what happens when the wheels of compliance just grind to a halt. Back in 2022, a huge European bank learned an incredibly expensive lesson about what happens when you decide to skip the rules. And no, that is not a typo. $82.6 million. That was the fine for a single IT incident. I mean, that is an absolutely eye-watering number, and it just begs the question, what on earth could have gone so wrong? Well, the official investigation laid it all out, crystal clear. The bank made a change to a critical system, but they completely failed to follow their own internal rules. There was no risk assessment, no recovery plan, not even a formal approval. It was a human decision to just skip the very processes that were designed to prevent exactly this kind of disaster. And the consequences? Well, they were catastrophic. Okay, so how do you stop your organization from making a mistake like that? The answer is actually pretty simple in concept, but man, it demands discipline. It's all about changing compliance from a checklist you dust off once a year for an audit into a continuous, active process that's just woven into the very fabric of your daily operations. So what does this continuous process actually look like in the real world? Well, the foundation of it all is establishing a rhythm. It's about creating a regular, predictable schedule for reviewing your systems to make sure they're always up to standard. First things first, let's get our terms straight. System compliance is just the ongoing process of making sure your systems meet all the required standards. The keywords here, the thing you have to remember, is that it's a continuous activity. It's not a project with a start and a finish date that you can just forget about. Now, the good news is you don't have to invent this stuff from scratch. Organizations rely on really well-established frameworks. You've probably heard of them, like ISO 27000 and the NIST Risk Management Framework. These things provide a roadmap for building and maintaining a solid compliance program. So these two big frameworks, they kind of approach the problem from different angles. You've got ISO 27000, which takes this really high-level 30,000-foot view of the entire security system across the whole company. Then you have NIST, which is way more granular. It focuses on the risk for individual systems. Look, both are super effective, but they guide you to set up your review schedule in slightly different ways. But look, having a review schedule is only half the battle. You also need an active defense. And what that means is constantly monitoring your systems and, this is crucial, having a plan already built for what to do the second something goes wrong. Effective monitoring isn't just one thing. It's this multi-layered approach. You've got physical monitoring, like who's swiping into the server room. Then there's logical monitoring, which is your firewalls and intrusion detection systems. You've got personnel monitoring, reviewing who's accessing what. And of course, change control, making sure every single update is tracked and authorized. It's basically a complete health checkup for your entire system. And this is the critical question. Alarms and alerts are completely useless if you don't know what to do when they go off. Spotting a problem is one thing, but having a clear, well-rehearsed plan to deal with it, that's what separates a minor hiccup from a full-blown crisis. And again, we can turn to a framework like NIST for a battle-tested plan. And notice how it's a life cycle, a loop. It all starts with preparation, which happens long before anything bad occurs. Then you move into active detection and analysis. Phase 3 is the actual fight, containing the threat and recovering your systems. But you know what? Maybe the most important step is the last one, post-incident activity. That's where you learn from what just happened so you can stop it from ever happening again. And this, right here, just brilliantly illustrates the gap between the goal and the reality. A recent report found something pretty shocking. 20 out of 23 major U.S. government agencies failed to meet advanced requirements for event logging. I mean, without logs, you can't properly detect, investigate, or fix cyber threats. It's like trying to solve a crime scene with zero evidence. So this brings us to the long game, because truly effective compliance isn't just about defending against threats. It's about proactively maintaining and constantly improving the overall health and security of your systems.
An organization that really gets it treats every single piece of maintenance with this level of seriousness. It's a 6-step process, from planning and preparation all the way through to verification and communication. This structured approach, especially the documentation part, is what ensures that changes are safe, effective, and auditable. It is the exact opposite of what happened at Sweetbank. And it goes beyond just maintenance. Proactive compliance means you're actively managing risk. It's a continuous cycle of identifying potential threats, figuring out how likely they are and how much damage they could do, and then making a conscious decision. Do we reduce this risk? Do we transfer it, avoid it, or do we just accept it?
And that brings us to the most unpredictable piece of the puzzle in any system: the people. I mean, you can have the best firewalls, the most robust processes, but one person clicking one wrong link can bring the whole thing crashing down. And that is why awareness and training are completely non-negotiable. But let's be real, most security training is painfully boring. So what actually works? Well, research points to a surprisingly effective method: gamification. By turning training into a game with points and leaderboards, learning becomes way more engaging. There was this one fascinating study that found students in a gamified classroom performed significantly better simply because it captured their attention and really boosted their ability to remember what they learned. Okay, so we've looked at all these different pieces: the reviews, the monitoring, the human element. What's the one big idea you should walk away with from all of this? Here it is. The single most important thing to understand is that you are never done with compliance. It is not a finish line you cross. It is a continuous, evolving cycle of reviewing your standards, monitoring your systems, responding to incidents, and constantly improving. This is the loop that protects an organization. And that really just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Consider your own workplace. Is system health treated like a dynamic, continuous priority? Or is it a checklist, just sitting in the wings, waiting for a massive failure to force it into the spotlight? The answer to that question could be the difference between business as usual and a very, very expensive lesson.